Picture this, you want a Lamborghini but you can't quite get your bank manager over the line. So you could either go for a second-hand one that someone else has thrashed or lower your expectations a little bit. Or you could go for one of these.
Meet the Audi R8 Take 2. It looks a lot like the original which first arrived in 2007, but it is mostly new, but with the same formula as that original one.
Only this one has been dialed up a few notches.
It's lighter and wider, more powerful and more agile. Its quattro four-wheel drive system's been enhanced and it gets the latest Audi gadgetry inside. That includes a virtual cockpit that replaces traditional instruments with a customisable colour screen.
To many people though, none of that is going to matter. This is the bit that matters. It's a V10 engine and not just any V10. It's out of the Lamborghini Huracan, a car with a classic wedge shape and brutal performance. 449 kilowatts of power. If you unleash the launch control, it'll snap to 100 k's an hour in 3.2 seconds. Top speed, a cool 330 k's an hour.
Even better is that this car is cheaper than a Lamborghini, although you're still only going to save 20 to 30 odd grand. And for those more interested in the look than the go, there's a detuned model that cools it down to just 397 kilowatts. So a little bit less, but more than most will ever yearn for.
And it's that regular V10 model that I'm driving now. I've got to be honest, when I first heard about this one, I sort of thought, well, why bother? I mean, it's you're going to get a supercar and you want balls out performance, then you want the best, you want the mega performance. But this thing is 90% of the car. The only thing though, it's also 90% of the money, so yeah, why bother?
Speaking of bothering, why would you bother with a Lamborghini when the R8 does most of what the Huracan does?
Well, believe it or not, there are plenty of people who love the badge, love the look, love something that stands out a heck of a lot. And at the end of the day, Audi says they've actually pulled this car back a little bit compared with something like a Lamborghini. It's an everyday car. It's a car you can live with as a daily driver, and it certainly feels quite comfortable and composed. Just tooling around generally, it's amazingly respectable in terms of how it deals with bumps. Decent room and so on inside, fairly practical. Looks and feels like a lot of other Audis. There's a lot of TT in this, albeit wigged up a bit. You've got things like carbon fibre bits here and there that make it feel a little bit special.
That's not to say mainstream brands can't muscle in on elite territory. Many have succeeded, including the Honda NSX and Nissan GT-R. But each of those has had a USP, something that makes them stand out. It's usually a really tempting price tag or some whiz-bang technology.
And let's face it, Audi does some brilliant cars, obviously one of the standout luxury car makers, but not known for their supercars. Certainly not the same way that Ferrari, Porsche, Lamborghini, Aston Martin and so on are. The R8 in the full Lamborghini tune, so your 449 kilowatts, the whole shebang, it's going to be still over 400 grand, so you're probably talking around 50 grand cheaper than the Lambo. Ultimately though, they're fairly different cars. The Lambo is more raw and in your face and full on, probably not the sort of car you'd live with every day. This car is surprisingly comfortable, yet when you want to have a go, you can still have plenty of fun. So there's plenty to love about the R8.
And it's a ripper on the track.
So here we are, R8 Gen 2. Having driven it on the road, it is surprisingly comfortable, surprisingly good at, I guess, pampering you and being easy to live with. Now it's the time to hammer it. See what it's like under a bit more pressure. Bit of understeer there. Straight away you can feel that four-wheel drive system really helping you blast off the line. And those gear shifts are super quick, like it's surprisingly good. And it is a really, really good set of stoppers. That one, I don't know what speed I was doing, but it was pretty quick. Washed off so much speed, quite bumpy there under brakes. Revs out fantastically. You can really get it going. And ultimately it's that V10 engine that makes it such a good thing. It's It's really nicely done. You can play with it a fair bit on the throttle, and so if it does come into understeer a bit and you're pulling a bit hard, just lift or give the brakes a dab, and you find the tail starts to come around. It's pretty cool. You can almost chuck it. And get some really nice drifts happening. One of the things when you're paying this much money for a car, you want theatre, you want engagement, you want something that screams you bought something special. It does most things right. It's extremely quick. It's got the V10 sound, but there's just something a little bit missing on that nth degree of making it really, really special.
The Audi R8 is due in Australia in the second quarter of 2016.